when you add the Brady Bunch, the kids from 8 is Enough, and my 3 sons, you get my next guest, a family with 17 kids. There aren't any twins in this family. There aren't any adopted children. They aren't even Irish Catholic. Okay, they're Catholic, but they're not Irish Catholic. But there are, count them, 17 children in this one family. They're all here today to share their stories of growing up in a very, very large family. If you think this is a miracle, it is a miracle. In fact, that's their name, the Mirical family. I'll start by letting them introduce themselves to you. If you would please stand and give us your names.
I'm Steve. I'm the oldest of the Mirical family. I'm a CPA, an attorney, and vice president of a software company living in New York City.
I'm Carol. I was born 9 months and 11 days after my brother Steve, and I'm an attorney in Washington, D.C.
I'm Chris. I was born a year and a half after Carol. I'm an attorney with my own law firm in Houston, Texas, and I'm also a CPA.
Cindy, 11 months younger than Chris. I have an MBA from the University of New South Wales in Sydney, Australia, and that's where I work as the research director for a private client stockbroking firm.
I'm Celeste, and I'm 1 year younger than my sister Cindy, and I'm an attorney in San Jose.
I'm Celia. I'm 12 months younger than Celeste, and I'm a metallurgical engineer at a major tubing manufacturer in Decatur, Alabama.
I'm Charlotte. I'm 1 year younger than Celia. I'm a job cost accounting supervisor in Houston, Texas.
I'm Greg. I was born 16 months after Shar. I attended Illinois State University, and I worked for a printer in my hometown of Pontiac, Illinois.
Born 10 and a half months after my brother Greg, my name is Cherie. I have a degree in accounting, and I'm currently a CPA in Pontiac, Illinois.
My name's Marty. I'm a writer in Glenview, Illinois, and I was born a whopping 16 months after Cherie.
I'm Connie. I was born 18 months after Marty. I attended the University of Illinois, and I'm a stay-at-home mom now.
John. I'm 14 months younger than my sister Connie. I have an engineering degree from the University of Illinois, and I'm currently studying intellectual property law.
I'm Vince. I was born 14 months after John. I have a finance degree from the University of Illinois, and I'm currently a systems analyst in Chicago, Illinois.
I'm Claire. I was born a year and 2 days after Vince, and I'm now a student in advertising at the University of Illinois.
I'm Colleen, born 17 months after Claire. I'm a junior at the University of Illinois in actuarial science.
I'm George. I was born 13 months after my sister Colleen. I'm currently studying at the University of Illinois.
I'm Mary. I was born 15 months after my brother George, and I'm a senior in high school.
Those birth dates span from 1955 to 1974. That means their mother was pregnant for a combined total of 13 years. I don't even know where to start. Well, Marty, you actually wrote a book about this, so let's start with you. What is life like with a family this size?
Well, I think most people who have 8 or 9 children can identify with this very, very well, because I think once you get over 8 or 9, a lot of the same things can happen. What is really astounding, other than the education side, is that we had to have 2 houses. And when we split up the family...
At what point? How many children were there when you bought the house next door, right?
We had bought the house next door and had rented it out, but when my youngest sister Mary was born, I think my parents were fed up and said, we need more space. At that point, they moved the younger kids to one house, the older kids stayed at the other house, and there was no grass in between.
It just got worn down. Where did everybody want to be? What was the best house to be in?
We wanted to be in the big house with the big kids. In fact, I think my sister Cherie was really upset still because I got to move over to that big house before she did.
That wasn't fair.
No, it was traumatic. It was horrible. It was such a status symbol being associated with the older kids that I was waiting for my turn. I'm the middle child, and that would have been the breaking point. I had to wait an extra year. But
yeah. See, there was room for one more boy. Steve had just left for college, and there was space in a bed for a boy to live with in a room with Greg. So I got to move first.
Now, what's it like being? Oh, Steve, what's it like being the oldest? Now, did you have all the responsibility? And
I got to be in charge a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. The worst time was worst year, I think, was right after I got my driver's license. There were a lot of errands to be run, and a lot of kids needed to be taken to school and to different activities.
Well, you're probably dying to see what kind of woman would be able to have 17 children in 20 years and still make it to a talk show. Here she is, the mother of our 17 guests, Mary Mirical. Come on over. Hi. Welcome to the show. Now, my first question... you should applaud for it. My first question is, they did tell you where babies come from, right? You did know.
After I had my 5th child, the doctor asked me if I did. But I did.
Now,
he said, don't think that's funny, because I had a couple that didn't.
Your late husband was an accountant, right?
Yes.
Because I see a lot of the kids went into that. Did you and he plan to have this many children originally?
Before we were married, he told my parents that we would have a dozen. But that was supposed to be a joke.
Well, I have these cards here with some questions that I want to ask you. As soon as we take a break and come back, I have lots of questions for this lady. We'll be right back. Talking to a family of 17 and their mom, and I have so many questions for you. First of all, having this many pregnancies, did they get easier as each one went along?
No. Some were easier, some were harder, and the worst one was the 16th one, because he was...
There he is. I'm proud of it too, aren't you, George?
Well, he's my real miracle baby. Because at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'd been having pains all night long, and they weren't doing any good. The young nurse who was taking care of me didn't know that. And I looked up at the clock and I said, God, if this baby is going to be born, you're going to have to do it, because I can't. And at that very moment, they changed shifts. The doctor came in and turned the baby, and the baby was born.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
He was meant to be here.
If you could do it all over again, would you do it the same?
Most things...
The lady just gasped over here when I said it.
Most things I wouldn't change, but I think I would try to have more patience and not to be so cross and crabby.
They're all saying, no, she's not a cross and crabby lady. I don't think. Colleen, what?
She was so patient. I couldn't believe it at times. The kids would be screaming, you know. I mean, I couldn't deal with it. And, boy, she was just amazing the way she would handle it.
Did you ever get names mixed up?
Sometimes I'd call one by another one's name. And for a while, John and Vince were the same size. Claire and Colleen were the same size. So if you looked at them from the back, you couldn't tell which one, always. And often they got called by each other's names.
How did you ever find time for yourself?
Well, I took time for myself.
When?
There was this one Tuesday we remember.
Somebody asked before.
I mean, because there are women with 2 children and 3 children watching this that they don't have 5 minutes themselves. How did you ever find a minute to yourself?
Somebody asked me that one time, and I said, well, just this morning I got up at 2 o'clock and took a bath.
At 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay. How did you... Now, everyone is so well educated. It had to have cost a lot of money. Now, your husband was not a wealthy man.
No.
Not a wealthy family. How did they get the education?
We actually... They had help all the way through. We had help. But they did most of it themselves. They worked all the time. They worked at home, and they worked outside the family. And they had to be very conservative in what they got. If they asked me for something, about most of the time they didn't get it. And they didn't complain. But we had help from outside. We had family help, the government help.
Well, they
got scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
That was the biggest,
I'm sure,
biggest help, because they studied hard, and it's a good example of when hard work is rewarded.
But not only did they work part-time to make money, didn't you also work for a while after what, your 9th child?
Yes, after Marty was born, I was going to go to a women's club meeting, and I got a babysitter. My husband said, well, as long as you have a babysitter, you might as well come to the office and type some financial statements.
In your spare time.
So I didn't go to that women's club meeting.
Oh, Which reminds me, how do you ever get a babysitter? It must have been very hard to get someone to watch this many kids.
Yes, it was difficult to get a babysitter, but we had one babysitter who came. She was an elderly lady, and she decided one day that she was going to quit and work for a family that only had 2 children. So I didn't ever want to stand in anybody's way if they wanted to better themselves. And she left, and a few weeks later she came back and she said she'd rather babysit my whole bunch.
Oh. What now? Other things about, you have one refrigerator, more than one?
Right now we have just one, but for a while we had 2, and I think for a little while we had 3.
How did you get around? You couldn't have had just a car. Did you have to have a van or something?
We didn't all go everywhere together. In fact, we never went anywhere together.
I guess you couldn't, I guess not. What would happen at home? Yeah?
We did go out for breakfast once, I remember, and we ordered, 24 eggs, a loaf of toast, and a pitcher of orange juice, that kind of thing.
And my dad added a couple of aspirin.
What happened when you would get phone calls? I mean, especially around the teenage years, the phone rings off the wall. Was there ever a problem getting messages, especially with 2 houses? Were there 2 phones?
Well, what we usually do, like the younger kids, I remember, that's when everybody was in the house. We would just get the phone. We didn't even really listen to who they were asking for, just hold it away for a while. Oh, they're not here right now. It worked out pretty well.
No one ever, for a while there, no one wanted to answer the phone, because what are the chances it's for you, So many people just like, not for me, somebody else get that.
Well, we're going to see if your methods of relaying phone messages got any better. I'm going to give a message to Steve up there. And I'm going to whisper it in Steve's ear. You play this game at home. I'm going to whisper it in Steve's ear. He's going to pass it down the whole family to the youngest, Mary. And when we come back from a break, excuse me for walking in front of you. When we come back from a break, we're going to see what the message is that wound up over in Mary's ear, okay? All right. Now, I'm just going to whisper this to Steve, and I'm going to show you, the viewers, what the message is that I'm whispering. Just take a look at your camera, at your screen. Here's the message. And don't listen. Okay. While he's passing the message down, if you'd like to order the book, by the way, 17 Little Miracles, you can call 1-800-882-1188. We'll be right back to see what this message was when it gets back.
For a transcript of today's show, please indicate show date and topic and send $4 to Jenny Jones Transcripts in care of Burrell's, Post Office Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07039.
We're back with Mary Mirical and her family of 17. Before the break, I gave Steve, the oldest, a message to pass down the line. They've been doing it on the break, and right now you can see it on your screen. This is what the message read. Tell me what your message was.
Tell Mom to turn the TV to channel 9 because the Brady Bunch is on.
The message was, tell Bob to pick up a 6-pack, tape Three's Company at 4, 8 is enough at 9, and meet me at 10. Not even close. Not even close. You're good sports for doing that. Thank you. Where did it go wrong? Right. Well, one last thing before we go. This incredible family lives all over the country, with even one living in Australia, as you know. This is the first time all 17 kids have been in the same place at the same time. They've never been able to take a family portrait with all 17 kids, and we have brought a photographer here today to take your first family portrait. Mary, do you want to come over and sit in the middle? Get Mom over in the center. I'm going to get out of your way, and we're going to get our first family portrait. All 17 kids with Mom. Everybody say cheese. Cheese. Thank you all very, very much, and thank you, Mom. Thank you, everybody. Bye. See you next time.
Accommodations provided by Hotel Intercontinental Chicago, ideally located on Michigan Avenue. Enjoy the distinguished services for which Intercontinental hotels are renowned worldwide. If you enjoyed today's show and want to attend a taping of Jenny Jones in Chicago, call 312-836-9485. Don't miss out. 312-836-9485.